Good evening and welcome on a Tuesday night. Kyle's going to be late tonight, so we're going to wait to talk about some of the things he wants to talk about.
You're working late
Um,
tonight.
but yeah, he might be late tonight. My name is JW Colwell. I'm joined tonight early on with just Jerry Kamora of the band Slapjaw and of Northeastern Pennsylvania. How's the weather?
It's actually better now.
Okay.
It rained pretty hard up here for a while.
Well, you never know. Like I asked the question in the group chat today. Was it rain or was it snow? And I was thinking about it. I know it's May, but I was like,
Yeah.
still.
No, the temperatures have been getting better. It's been 60s ish.
Yeah, I know.
Not
It's
so
rough.
bad.
Down here, it's a solid 80 every day. So,
It's awesome.
yeah, I feel bad for you people, but again, I moved. Um, so let's get to the gist of things. So I got a few movie reviews for tonight. We're going to talk a little bit. We're not going to get into spoiler territory. Good evening, all. Good evening, Joe Risley. How are you, my friend? Good to have you tonight
Joseph.
with us. Yes, the Grand Poobah joining us, which is nice. We should be. I would be remiss to say if you like the content, any of this content, please like and subscribe to the Escape YouTube channel down the bottom here, or like us on Facebook. We have our own group page and group. Loud Nerdy also has its own group and page. So by all means, like and subscribe. Takes you like 2 minutes. Good evening, friends. Good evening, Ken McKernan, who we found out last night lives in Montreal. True. Good evening, Ken. Thanks for joining us. We always appreciate you coming on and talking to us and chit chatting in the chat. I'm gonna do this tonight. We have a few people watching tonight. Because we're waiting for Kyle, and I don't want to discuss anything big until Kyle gets here because he said not to. So I'm gonna open up the chat. Is there anything that you guys want to talk about before I do some quick movie reviews that Kyle wouldn't care about anyway? But is there anything you guys want to talk about? That's happening in pop culture or movies or television, and go. Let's see, Raven. Don't know how long I'll be with you, but I'm here for now. Raven, you got anything you want to discuss? Not Doctor Who. Anything you want to discuss besides Doctor Who?
Did I still use the same theme?
Yeah, they still use the same theme.
It's a good theme.
It's a good theme. It works. But any questions you might have tonight, we're going to open it up while we're waiting for Kyle to get here because it's always good to keep everybody going. I will say I have some reviews for everybody, just some movies I caught up on that were on Netflix and in the week we had off, which was nice. It's sometimes nice to have a week off. Kyle was on vacation and he still wanted to do the show. Don't get me wrong, I love all of you and I love the show and I love Jared and I love Kyle, but that's insane. That's crazy to me. Just we can take a week off here or there. But I got to catch up on some movies last week. So first one I want to talk about, it's on Hulu, it's on Disney, you can buy it on Amazon Plus. A movie called The Order. It came out late last year, like October of last year. Jude Law, fantastic, curmudgeonly old FBI agent. Nicholas Hoult, who's about to become Lex Luthor. Um, and it takes place in basically the FBI trying to track down various forms of white supremacy groups in the early 80s.
I was going to say, it looks like it's dated. Like
it is very 80s ish, but it's a Canadian crime thriller. Justin Kurzel, who's this up and coming director, really good young director, makes some really interesting stuff. He did Siege, he did The Order. He had a Macbeth version. He worked. Was the director of Assassin's Creed, True History of the Kelly Gang, and Nitram. But basically, it's this really great movie. Jude Law plays this FBI agent named Terry Husk. Nicholas Hoult plays Robert J. Matthews, leader of the Order. Ty Sheridan's in it, who you may recognize. He was Cyclops in some of the um, later X-Men movies. He's also in Ready Player One. He's a good young actor, and it's really this really interesting movie about the rise of white supremacy groups in the 80s, and basically they the FBI agent who started tracking them when they started in the 80s. It also touches upon the murder it takes place in Colorado. So I don't know if you remember this, Sherry, but there was a radio host that got murdered in the 80s. For he was a Jewish radio host that kind of just he pissed a lot of people off. But he wasn't doing anything bad. He would like take calls every night and basically, just kind of like people would get crazy. His name was Alan Berg. And then he would fight with anti-Semites, but he would try to talk to people, try to, they would call into his show and everything. And this whole story is part of that story where he got murdered. And basically, it's about this white supremacy leader who is basically setting up. He's doing things that are off the beaten path for white supremacy groups. So he's setting up. He basically sets up these bombings that cover bank robberies. So it's this really great cat and mouse, trying to stop a bombing, and Jude Law realizes they're doing the bombings that basically set off the bomb. Then they go in when everybody's focused on the bombing. They go in and rob banks to raise money for the order, and it's a really gritty, excellent kind of like procedural, but also like Nicholas Hoult is fantastic. He's charismatic. He's charming. He draws people in. He fights with there are religious factions within the order, and he basically brings everybody together because he views the religious factions as hypocrites. So he kind of like they're basically talking peace. We got to do this peacefully, and the leader from the religious side is basically saying in 30 years we're going to have members of Congress. We do it slowly, and he's like, I want the revolution now. And so it just becomes it butts heads. It's him versus Jude Law. And basically Jude Law is coming from a place where he's lost his wife, he's lost his kids, and he's gotten so deep with other white supremacy groups, he just doesn't understand what's happening. And it's this really interesting, well done, amazing. I can't recommend it enough. It's one of the best films I've seen recently. And Jude Law and Nicholas Hoult and Ty Sheridan and Journey Smollett are all really great in it. It's a really great little movie that I don't think got nearly the amount of attention it should have. And so I'm calling its praises out now. It's one of those movies. I was trying to think of the movie. A little bit, it reminds me of a movie called Betrayed, which is a movie with Tom Berenger and Deborah Winger, where Deborah Winger plays an FBI agent who kind of infiltrates a white supremacy group. It's a little bit like that, but it's more, it's just Jude Law is really good. And I was like thinking about this. Jude Law did this movie right around the time he was doing Skeleton Crew on Disney. So it's like the range the guy has is like it's incredible. And he's just a guy that's made a lot of mistakes, and he's been sent to the far reaches of the FBI. It's an office that actually isn't open, and he's there and he starts tracking it. And he meets a cop, a local sheriff, who kind of bites off more than he can chew, and kind of it's really good. I can't recommend it enough. Hold on, let's see comments. Thoughts on the Unicorn movie? I love the Unicorn movie. Death of a Unicorn is great. It's satire. It's funny. It's dark. It has a basis in reality, which is great. There's a basis in reality because there's these art things that are called the unicorn tapestries. It's really good. I really enjoyed that movie, Mo. Let's see. Raven says, I do really love Death of a Unicorn. I think Jenna Ortega is fantastic. I think Paul Rudd's great. But Will Poulter steals the movie. He plays the son. He plays the smarmy, super rich son of the person they're going to visit when they hit the unicorn. It's a great movie. It's gory as hell though. Also, just a warning. Thunderbolts was great. Return to Form. Sinners was amazing. And Doctor Who. I haven't watched Doctor Who in a while. Thunderbolts was great. Thunderbolts is a return to form. I agree with all of those statements. I know you saw Thunderbolts. For me, is a great movie. It's doing very well. I was going to talk about the numbers really quick. It's at 79 million already as of today. So 165 worldwide. Its budget wasn't that big. It was only like 180. So it should be fine. Um, don't worry about the box office. I know people were like, "Oh, it didn't even open in the same amount as Brave New World." That was, Brave New World was awful, and this movie opened worse than it. Let me explain how those things work. Brave New World opened more than it, great, because there's a lot of competition right now. Thunderbolts and Sinners are both in theaters. Both gross over $30 million this past weekend, which hasn't happened in a while. So, um, interesting thing there. But so that's why it grossed a little bit less than Brave New World, but it's going to hold a lot longer. There aren't a lot of movies coming out next week. There aren't a lot of movies coming out the week after, and the next big 1-2 punch at the box office doesn't come till May 23rd, when we get Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning.
Both of them will probably do really well.
Yeah, they're. Well, Rich is going to see Mission Impossible next Monday as a critic. They're giving the screening to him on Monday of 2 weeks before it opens, and the embargo off the reviews comes off 2 days after he sees it. So that means that a week before the movie opens, they're allowing all the reviews to come out, which to me is a sign that they know they have a great movie on their hands, because they're not afraid of the reviews. Not that a review could hurt a Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movie, but they know that they have something special, so they're allowing all the critics to say whatever the fuck they want. Cool. But there's nothing really to run rough over Thunderbolts. We have a couple movies opening this weekend. I was going to talk about them later, but we can talk about them now. The 2 movies opening this weekend are not any challenge to either Sinners or or Thunderbolts. The 2 movies opening this weekend are, let's see, where is it at? This one, Fight or Flight, which is Josh Hartnett, directed by somebody that has something to do with the John Wick franchise, which is kind of like a wild action movie on a plane. And then the one I'm looking forward to, that is getting sparkling reviews, Jerry. Listen to this. So, Clown in a Cornfield is a movie that's coming out, right? And it's I guess it's a slasher. Nobody knows what the fuck it is. But it's coming out on Friday, and this is the premise. 2025 American slasher directed by Eli Craig. It's basically, listen to it's got 40 reviews on Rotten Tomatoes right now. 40. You want to give me a guess of what the tomato meter is, Jerry? With 40 reviews? For a horror film with a clown in a cornfield. Want to give me the aggregate? What's the number?
Out of what? Out of 5?
Out of 100.
Out of 100?
The tomato meter.
Oh, the horror movies don't do well. Generally.
It's got 40 reviews. So what?
80.
Tell me what? 80. That would be spectacular, Jerry, if it was 80.
Right, it would be, right?
It would be amazing, except this one is 93.
Oh.
Yeah. That's the response. That's exactly the response, Jerry. As a horror fan, if you tell me this movie is getting a 90...
Does somebody know somebody?
I don't know. I was about
right?
that. Remember that review scandal with Sony where they had somebody was acting like he was a critic, but he was it was just the Sony executives writing the reviews. Fight or Fight, by the way, is also at 88%, which is amazing.
So when is that coming out? That clown movie?
They both come out Friday. They come out the
nice.
night. So I don't think they're going to challenge Sinners, or I wouldn't say to anybody go see. I'm probably going to go see Clown in a Cornfield. I've already seen Sinners twice. I've seen Thunderbolts twice. I'm probably going to go see Clown in a Cornfield before I go see Fight or Flight, but that's just a personal preference and a non-fear of
Just because
clowns.
you have to.
Yeah,
Now
right.
you have to see what the hype's about now.
93%, Jerry. Come on now, that's shocking. So those are the only things opening that are against Thunderbolts and Sinners. I expect Thunderbolts and Sinners to just keep bouncing along until we get to Mission Impossible and Lilo and Stitch, and then they'll fall out of the top two, right? They'll get bumped down.
Yep.
But you know, we have to talk a little bit about Sinners, because the box office for Sinners is impractical, and also in a week where we're talking about, and I say this with all due respect because I know we have people on both sides of the aisle, Jerry, that watch our show. I'm going to tell you right now, let's not fuck around with the American film industry. Let's not talk about tariffs. Let's not say where it has to film. Let's not do anything crazy, because of the industries we have in this country, the most exportable things we have, the absolute highest exportable things that we own as a country, are our films. Our films will go all over the world. And if we're going by trade deficits, I don't understand, because usually it's a trade deficit that sparks my man's interest in the White House. There's no trade deficit. We're at $15.3 billion in the red, like in the black. So please, no, just no on this one. Just no. We don't need tariffs. Like, we don't need anything impacting Star Wars movies or Marvel movies, Lord of the Rings movies, or any of these other movies that are filming in other places other than America. Realize that all of our talent is here, and that they go wherever they need to be gone. Also, if we think about it, Jerry, you're watching classic movies. If there was something that held movies like, I don't know, Lawrence of Arabia, which is a American production, right?
Right.
This tariff thing, I don't know how it's going to happen, right? But if you're telling me we're going to possibly not have Lawrence of Arabia, possibly not have Bridge on the River Kwai, because they would be filming overseas. Think about Lawrence of Arabia without David Lean and The Sand. Would be my. There's nowhere to film it here.
You gotta film it in the Rocky Mountains.
Well, it's a different Lawrence of Arabia.
Right.
But Bond
Lawrence
movies,
of Colorado.
Lawrence of Colorado, Bond movies, anything. It's just the one industry that I know he hates and thinks isn't doing well because he's hanging out with John Voight or whatever. American films are doing fine. Let's not, hands off. Just, I'll do the $3 thing if we cannot talk about the American film industry, because I'm so, because I don't know how they're going to do it. Aside from the fact that movies are not products, they're things you paid to do, right? They're not. Anyway, moving on. That's my spiel on that one. But it's a spiel. Let's see, comments we got. Let's see. Hold on. We got. I know we don't do power orders for terrorism. I just gave you. It will help. Our movie industry isn't dying. Like, Jerry knows this as well as I do. Our movie industry, it's the only thing we export on a regular basis that makes bank. Think about it. China opens the doors for our films.
Well, even so, I've noticed, like, collecting movies over the years, that if a new movie comes out, it's always released overseas first on some type of digital media or whatever, or VHS. They get it first somehow, and then we get it later,
Yeah, but this, like, if he's saying he wants to fight the piracy, I'd be okay, great. But this isn't about piracy. This is about filming movies in the United States, where it's not two things. It's not economically feasible, and what happens?
You don't have the proper landmarks for the content either, right?
Yeah. You don't. It's not economically feasible because of the tax breaks, right? And it's also not
like so much for Dune.
Yeah. Ow. Well, not even Dune. Like Jerry, I was thinking about other things, right? Just to keep on this topic for a second. But like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, where the fuck are you filming it?
Yeah,
Where
there's no Amazon jungle around here.
where are you? Where are you filming? Where are you filming Raiders? Where like
Yeah.
the idea that somebody thinks that all American films have to be filmed in America. It's you've seen so many movies. I've seen so many movies. It's a stupid idea. I don't know how you do it. Also, like I was going through it with Rich last night. Let's talk about it. Okay, let's say a movie like let's talk about Avengers Doomsday, right? That's the next Avengers movie. That next May. Started filming this weekend in England, right? They're getting tax breaks. Are we doing it on are the tariffs 100% on the budget? So is it Disney has to pay $400 million? Is it a tariff that we pay as a ticket goers? We have to pay more for movies that are not filmed entirely in the United States. That's crazy. Is it the tax rebate? Is it if England gives Disney a $60 million tax rebate, the Disney company has to pay $60 million. It's not a well thought out idea, and it will end up hurting the film industry more than anything else. It's an insane idea, and it would also, if you look at the history of filmmaking, Jerry, how many movies that we love could not have ever been made if this
Most of them.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's just I just think I don't agree with him on a lot of things, but this is one of those things where it's like you can't possibly think American films aren't making money. Especially when we've had the last month, right? We've had one of the best stories in the history of the business in the last month. Sinners, $90 million vampire movie with almost an all African American cast, filmed in the United States. It's grossed $240 million. You know what I mean? Like it's not going away. It like first weekend drop off is 5%. Second weekend drop off is 28%. It grossed 48 million opening weekend, 45 the second weekend, 33 the third weekend. It's a success story. You know what I mean? It's what we should be talking about, not tariffs that we don't. I don't even know how you like if it's a foreign film. Do I have to pay more to go see? Here's one that should get everybody understand where I'm coming from. Say it's a foreign film. Will a company not book it? Will nobody buy it? So let's say last December, not December, maybe whatever month it was. Godzilla -1, made in Japan, comes here, does incredible business, ends up winning Godzilla's first Oscar, and is just a wonderful, amazing movie. Why are we going to stop people from going to see good movies? Like why? It seems crazy. I don't know how you feel. I know how I feel. I looked at it and just went, stay away from my fucking movies. I don't know.
Speaking of that, do they plan on doing another Godzilla?
Yeah, they're doing a sequel to Godzilla, but we might not get to see it because here we don't know what the tariffs mean. We don't know what the tariffs mean, Jerry. So, like, I'll give you an example. Like, say Cinemark books for you guys. Cinemark books Godzilla -2, or whatever the fuck they're going to call it. Right?
I was just going to say, is it going to be -2?
Well, I don't think it is because the minus one is a thing where it's based on the level of civilization. I don't think it's going to be -2. I think they build up, so it might be Godzilla 0, maybe. I don't know. Right. Anyway, let's say they make Godzilla 0. There's a tariff on Godzilla 0 because Godzilla 0 is made in Japan, which is okay because that's where fucking Godzilla movies are made. They've been made there forever. And actually, the few times we've tried to make them in America, guess what? They sucked.
Yeah.
They were terrible.
Godzilla 1985.
Godzilla, just bigger is better. Like that one was awful.
Or the
anyway,
Broderick
so let's
one.
say they make 0. let's say there's a tariff. So there's a tariff to bring it in 100% tariff. Does the theater pay it? Does the theater go, I don't want to deal with the tariff thing, so we're not even going to book it? So does that mean you and I don't get to go see Godzilla Zero or whatever it's going to be? It's not good, and it's not going to help the industry. It's not going to help theaters. It's not going to help. I'll give you an example. Cinemark right now.
Everybody's going to be putting on their eye patch and going, "Arr."
Well, but I'll give you an example. Cinemark right now, they do the Bollywood movies, right? You have a large, in northeastern Pennsylvania, you have a large Indian population in northeastern Pennsylvania. Their Bollywood movies on a regular basis at Cinemark, I've talked to Rich, they sell out every show. Every show for 3-hour Bollywood movies. Gone. Everything gone. It's like that scene in A Christmas Story. Turkey hash, gone. Turkey sandwich, gone. Everything gone. It's just a bad idea. Let me know how I wasn't supposed to be watching that tonight, but I don't think I could give that attention. My brain's not here tonight. Maybe the order. Let's see. Have you seen Nick Cage's The Surfer? What a complete mindfuck. Haven't seen The Surfer. I will get to it, but it wasn't list of priorities this week. Clown in the Cornfield is great. People running clown out if it's again just really awkward knees right now. Insert sarcasm. I think it's deeper than that. Clown in the Cornfield's based on a book. Like, I think it's deeper. I think it's about like a small town that has like a problem with manufacturing. Like there's the clown is the mascot for the town, and it's based on a book. And
how old is do you know?
The book?
It's like an older story.
2020 novel by Adam Cesar.
No, so it's not that old of a story.
It's not that old of a story, but I think it's about like a manufacturing town. You know what I mean? Like it's got like it's a slasher movie with a clown in a cornfield. But apparently it has a lot going on. Like one of the things with the reviews, listen to the Quinn and her father have just moved to the quiet town of Kettle Springs, hoping for a fresh start. Instead, she discovers a fractured community that's fallen on hard times after the treasured Bay Pen corn syrup factory burned down. As the locals bicker amongst themselves and tensions boil over, a sinister, grinning figure emerges from the cornfields to cleanse the town of its burdens, one bloody victim at a time. Welcome to Kettle Springs. The real fun starts when Friendo the Clown comes out to play. And the consensus is, Clown in the Cornfield doesn't reinvent the corn maze, but its clever insights, subversion of expectations, and a solid foundation helps slash its way to the top. 93%. I'm so in on this.
Have a good storyline.
Well, like I said, I think
because critics don't like slasher movies. They
no,
never do.
And I think the key to the consensus is subversion. The idea that where we're headed with all our horror movies right now, like Barbarian, where we're headed with Sinners, right? It starts out one way, it becomes something else, right? There's subversion to the storylines. Like the idea that I'm going to see a movie, I'm going to pay for a ticket to see a movie called Clown in a Cornfield. I shouldn't be expecting anything better than a clown in a cornfield. And if it ends up any better than that, guess what? That's great. Right. Okay, new comments. Let's see. I think we did that one. If you haven't seen The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, great Cage movie, it is. It's not just a Cage movie anymore. It's now a Pedro Pascal movie, because Pedro Pascal's in everything now. I know this is completely off topic as a vampire fan. I realized that Sinners and Interview with the Vampire, the new TV should happen within the same period of time. And now I can only think about how I want Lestat, the main character, because I want to give everything away. I just want them to live a happy life together. Anyway, fair, I guess. What I would say about Sinners is, if you haven't seen Sinners and you watch our show, I'm legit telling you, there is an article in Variety today. Oscar predictions 2026. Sinners becomes early contender for Best Picture. And when I say to you, Hollywood doesn't like horror films.
Yeah.
For Sinners to be a contender for Best Picture, it is definitely going to get nominated. It's going to get nominated for a lot of technicals. It may get nominated for some of the performances. It's that fucking good. The script is amazing. It's such a good movie. It is so far up here this year in movies I've seen. I can't even talk about it enough. That being said, Thunderbolts is great too. Thunderbolts is a return to form for Marvel, which I was super excited about. Let's see. America's biggest export is entertainment. This is a death nail. Yeah, but couple things. Okay. So two things happened over the weekend that I know about because it happened in Florida and I was here and the news reporter. John Voight was visiting Mar-a-Lago and he basically told Trump that he's not getting any work and the industry's dying. And I hate to break it to John Voight. I like some of his work. Runaway Train is really good.
Movie.
It's a great movie. But the reason John Voight isn't getting work has nothing to do with a failing movie industry. It just doesn't. So if
I mean, he's pretty old too, right?
That's what I mean. Like he's old.
When's the last movie he made? Really, I mean,
an important movie, right? So, but he got hit in his ear. Now there was another thing that happened. He talked about opening Alcatraz this weekend. So,
get the Clint Eastwood movie back out. Let's go. Now I have to watch it again.
Barry, you're making a joke, and I'm gonna tell you right now. The funny thing is that look at local listings in the Florida area over the weekend, Sunday afternoon, before the Sunday thing about Alcatraz. Jerry, can you guess what movie was on television?
Well, that or The Rock, right?
Escape from Alcatraz was on. So you can joke, but that movie was on in Florida during the day on Sunday.
It's a good movie, though.
It's a great movie, but I don't know that we need to open up Alcatraz.
Right.
Like it's just because then he did the press conference where it was about the NFL draft, and it was all just all about Alcatraz, and maybe I'm a filmmaker, and it's like you're not a filmmaker. Just move on. We're movie business is trying to come back.
Well, where did they? It was when you say it was on. What was it on?
It was on a local television, like our
like cable stations.
Yeah.
Well, because I'm thinking like they're looking for ratings, right? And so you're jumping on a thing. Well, this is the hot topic. Let's put this out. Everybody will watch it.
It was before
the while the iron's hot.
It was before it. That was
okay.
It was before it, Jerry. It was before. It was.
Well, that's ironic. That's kind of fun.
Ironic, or
somebody knew something ahead of time.
Somebody watched a lot of television. It's ironic, or somebody watched a lot of television. Anyway, okay.
Well, that could be true too. Yeah.
Canada's Hollywood North. A lot of filming up here. Yeah, you give a lot of tax breaks. Canada gives a lot of tax breaks. Problem is, it makes no sense how you do the tariff for the industry. Do you look at the production? Do you look at the casting? Do you look at the acting taping? Happens in other places. It's completely ridiculous. We don't know how they're going to do it. And my main thing on this issue is, of all the industries, anything you export, anything that you export from the United States, Jerry, can you think of anything? Your family's in business. Your family is, well connected. Can you think of anything we export to every country in the world? The way we export our films, the way we export Star Wars.
Just the only other thing would be music, but I don't even know if that counts.
Up against movies?
Entertainment. Well, music's huge.
Music is huge, but you have the music like.
I mean, you're not necessarily making the music overseas, say, or in another country, but it's certainly making its way there.
He doesn't like Pinewood Studios, which is one of my favorite studios of all time. All the Bond movies, like Pinewood, is one of the great meccas for film fans. The new Karate Kid movie, parts are filmed here in Montreal. The China scenes are filmed in the Botanical Gardens here. Yes, but again, I don't know. I don't know how quickly we're going to get this tariff. China scenes.
Wax
Talk
on.
about politics, boys, but I thought this is essentially what the show is about. Yeah, I'm not. I don't care about it. This was like,
Oh,
yeah. Nobody wants to talk about politics. I understand, but this one, Jerry, this one is crazy, and it's right in my. It could impact my stuff, man. Like
oh,
all the
more
crazy. Anyway,
collected popcorn buckets.
no more collecting. The new one, by the way. Look at how
Would you get
grand it. Look at how grand it is. Look at how beautiful
what?
it
The
is.
Darth Vader?
Yes.
That's a popcorn bucket? That's awesome. Oh, that's all right.
Yes. Yes.
Why
Look at
did
how
they make stuff like this when we were kids?
because I don't think people spend a lot of money at movies.
I would have been all over that. I mean,
I,
what did we get? We got our 3D glasses from Burger King, our
I got
cup.
that. I got that. I got the glasses at Burger King were really nice. We just, my aunt found the Batman Forever glasses from McDonald's. Like
All right on.
I was so fucking nerding out about them. I'm like, you do realize the handles are all the cool things. So like Two Face's handle is like coins flipping in the air.
That's neat.
The Riddler's handle is the question mark cane. Batman's handle is a batarang. Robin's is the Robin crest he has on his chest. So this is the other thing. I got the Revenge of the Sith, which is
I have glasses that are Star Trek: The Next Generation glasses.
ooh.
I don't know
This
where
is
they
my,
came from
this
exactly,
is my
but
Thunderbolts. I got my little Yelena cup. She's a little Funko Pop. My Thunderbolt. We should also talk a little bit about the fact that they waited till Monday when they grossed $79 million to basically spoil some of the movie. We're not going to do it on this show because people get pissy in our comments. But that is out there what the asterisk means now. When we think about live action, think about an animation movie or any animation. No Miyazaki, no Howl's Moving Castle or any just crazy. Anyway, next 4 years only Pixar. Pixar is not done in the United States. There are versions of Pixar's all over the world. The animators.
boy, that whole when Pixar came out, man, Disney's lucky they got with them.
Well,
They would have been in trouble.
it was an incredible stroke of luck that they bought
Yeah,
that.
they had to get on that
American
bandwagon.
dollar goes a long way filming in other countries. That is very true. But again, what I would also say to you is countries like Canada, countries like England, they're giving huge tax breaks that we just simply don't have for whatever reason in the United States, in Hollywood, in Georgia. Although the tax breaks kind of dried up in Georgia because everybody's fighting politically about stuff in Georgia. Another stupid thing. Just remember how mad Trump was when Parasite won. Yeah, he was a little bit upset about Parasite. Parasite's a great movie though. Bollywood stuff is really fun. Heard a great title from when coming out. Yeti with machete. If it's a fucking Yeti, why does it need a machete? Like I'm just asking. I'm asking for the
It's
peeps.
like Cocaine Bear.
Well,
why.
yes, but different. Yeti with machete seems to think the Yeti
Or all those
machete.
sci-fi movies, Mega Shark versus.
I know what you did last summer is back. That's not coming out till July though. That movie has the worst opening spot of the summer. That movie opens the weekend between Superman and Fantastic Four. Is I know what you did last summer, and I was thinking about this today, Jerry. Can I ask you this question? We both like slasher movies. Slasher movies are my favorite horror movies. I know what you did last summer is not the best franchise, and it's not. They were okay. I will tell you that
Yeah.
the fact that I would have that for everybody who listens to the show, my wife and I went on our first date, so I still know what you did last summer, which dates me, but also that movie wasn't that good either. Like, anyway, Greetings.
Yeah.
Have Cheetah will view. How you doing, buddy? Have Cheetah will view. I pay attention to him and his site. He you know that movie that's right behind your back, Jerry, on the left behind your back? Yes. Have Cheetah will view recently saw The Thing for the first time.
How's that
That's
possible?
that's the eye, yes.
That's
I
cool
never,
though. But
I can never forget John Voight's accent in Anaconda so bad.
I'm
There are lots.
curious of what he thinks of it though.
You know the Thunderbolt's origin is all wrong again. That's fine. It. I understand. Cheetah, what I would say to you is the movies they can't do everything comics based, but they can do enough to make most people happy. But you and I are happy Tuesday. Thank you, Lizzie Kitty Merricks. We appreciate you. Message from Kyle, still ongoing, not looking good tonight. Thank you, Joe. That is a cool popcorn bucket. Yes, it is. We got superhero Slurpee cups. Cool. Bring back the sci-fi monster movie, Aztec Rex. Where was Aztec Rex made? That sounds like it was made in I don't know, Mexico. Is what it sounds like, a Mexican horror film. I like. Wait a second, Cheetah, you're gonna have to put some more comments in. I like The Thing, or you love.
Yeah, like I'm
This
just curious because if
yeah,
you
this one is
like we grew up with it, right? We grew up watching it. The special effects are ridiculous in that movie. Nothing really tops it still in my
actually,
eyes.
what
But
I
I'm
think
curious to see what he thinks of that
with
too.
The Thing, Jerry. The interesting thing about The Thing from 1982, John Carpenter, Kurt Russell, one of the great horror films ever made. Um, is when you're younger, the coolest parts are the badassery and the gore and the creature effects, and it's amazing. When you get older, the cinematography, the score, the script, the sense of undying dread
Right?
that just
And the unknowing.
the unknowing that just seeps through the movie as you watch it. And the more you watch it, the more questions you have, or the more like, when did that guy with the thing in his stomach, when did he get
Yeah.
there? Shit, I
Or
don't
like
know anybody.
Ridley.
When did
I'm okay now. You can let me
I
out.
you can let me out. I've had a long talk. But it's just one of the genius horror films. Botan
I
is the
know you
goat.
gentlemen have been through a lot.
But
It's
if
like
you could, before the end of this long fucking winter, untie me from this fucking chair. Oh, that's fantastic. I mean, and Kurt Russell and John Carpenter movies is
yeah, they're
tantamount.
made for each other, right?
They're made for each other. The way they feel, the way they carry themselves. They're just fucking amazing. I liked Escape from New York a little better. I'm not gonna fight with you on this. Escape
What
from New
the
York.
dude?
Wait, did you just see Escape from New York too? No. No. Cheetah, we gotta talk.
I'd love to have a toy version of the Duke's car with the chandeliers on the front.
I'd like a Snake Plissken figure. I mean,
Well, that too,
I'd like a really well done Snake Plissken
or even
figure.
the pod that Donald Pleasance was in, the President pod.
The President Pod. Well, and Donald Pleasance would have to come with the fucking chain and the
Yeah,
fucking. The Snake Plissken figure should come with a tape that you can rip up, and I don't know. I would still
and a
pay it. I would
glider.
also. We were talking about this last night. What if, like, they keep on talking about they're going to remake Escape from New York, and one of the things that I would say, I don't know if he would do it, but Wyatt Russell, who's Kurt Russell's son, I think they should make an Escape from New York movie with Kurt Russell, and then have a back version where Wyatt Russell's playing Snake as a kid. Would be, if we're gonna do it, you gotta have, like, because that's where the rub is
Yeah,
always.
like where does he come from, right?
I saw Escape in the theater. Okay. You saw Escape in there. How did you miss The Thing? I'm so confused. We were talking
It
about this.
happens,
I
though.
was I sent him a comment. He's like, we finally saw the thing. I know I'm gonna get my my card revoked. And I sent him a message. I'm like, this is the first time watching the thing, and he's like, yep. And I put, let's see, first time I saw it came out in '82. I was born in '74. I was 8. I saw it in '82. I was terrified in '82. And again, the gore and Kurt Russell and everything's cool. But as you progress through life, the more you watch that movie, the more just the walls closing in on
You know,
everything.
in a way, there's some movies that I wish I could see for the first time, right?
Again,
From back then, again,
there's a good
just to
one.
have
What?
that feeling again.
Give me one of yours for the first time.
Well, like anything, like Jaws. Like if there was no Jaws,
First time you saw Jaws.
you know what I mean, or The
Would
Exorcist,
you?
or
Let me ask you a question. Would you go back to the actual person you were at the time it came out? Like, I'll give you an example. I could go back to my first time seeing Star Wars, right? I know I saw it at a drive-in in 1979. I know I saw it at my dad's theater at Viewmont in '77. I walked through the lobby of Viewmont when Viewmont was only 2 theaters before it became 5. And I walked through the lobby of Viewmont with a C3PO outfit on. So would you go back, or do you want to see it for the first time as you're like what you are now? Because I
well,
think
I
that would
think
be really
that's
interesting.
sort of a tough question because as
It's a
we are
meta
now,
question, right? It's a meta question.
yeah, because we're desensitized now because we've
Yes,
seen everything else. We've seen all of that times 10,
yes.
like especially like the
But I
slash
think,
stuff, right?
well, the slasher stuff, like
Like the
when a
gore and all that.
yeah, when a slasher achieves for me, like the last slasher that achieved for me is premiering on Netflix on Thursday. Hard Eyes. I came out of Hard Eyes just going, they love the genre. They get it. It's fun and it's crazy and it's a romantic comedy that's hooked up to a slasher movie. And it's like, you can't make just slasher movies. You have to have some sort of hook. And I like the hook, and the hook was great. And so, yes, but I think the interesting thing would be like, I would love, like metaphysical out of body experience, being able to sit next to my, let's see, for Raiders, it was 7. I was 7. I'd like to be able to sit next to my 7-year-old self, see my dad, and be able to like be like, this movie's still my favorite movie. When I saw Raiders, right? I saw Raiders when I
Right.
was 7 by myself. They were testing the print, and it just, I came out just like all I could do was talk about it, you know?
Well, because things are so different now. Like even Alien. I mean, Alien frightened people. Alien is really pretty
I
tame
remember when
in
I saw Alien.
comparison to
I
things
was
now.
ready.
It's
Five,
right.
5, Jerry, in Buffalo, New York. They had an IMAX theater, not an IMAX. They had 70 millimeter. There were 3 seats left in the entire theater. My dad made a long trip to make sure he could see Alien. I went with them because my parents never left me home. I was in the front seat of Alien. I went to the bathroom 17 times that movie. I was
Well,
so
you're
fucking
lucky you weren't in space because nobody'd hear you scream.
I was fucking terrified. My dad used to always get questions, like adults would question him, and he'd be like, "No, my kid can handle it. Good." I explain everything to him. We're good. We move on. Um, it got him. It got him in. Not. It didn't get him in any trouble, but it like people questioned him all the time. Where like enough. I remember one movie where the people watching the movie didn't know I was a seasoned moviegoer, and they were uncomfortable that I was watching the movie. And it was, my dad came in and grabbed me and was like, just go to the other theater. And because we had a twin, he's like, go to the other theater. People are upset about you. They don't understand that you understand these movies. They think you're a kid. They don't know what you are, what I've
Right.
created.
Right.
Right? Like the monster created. They're like they have no idea what you are.
Yeah,
It's
it was kind of like that for me a little bit too. I mean, I wasn't at the
parents took
movies
me
as
to
much
adult
as you
movies.
were,
My
but
parents, yeah,
I
my
wanted to see some really weird stuff
well,
back
we in
in the day.
80, I'll
I
give you
got
86, I was 12. The summer of '86, I got the Alan Dean Foster Aliens book. I shared it with me and my cousin Pete, who lived up the street. Pete, who's in the Vikings, you've met him. And we made the plan that we were going to take 2 kids with us from the area, and we were going to go to the Eric. It was the Eric at the time. It wasn't UA, wasn't Endless
Right.
Mountains.
I remember.
We're going to go to the Eric, and we're going to say we're going to see something, but we're going to see aliens. Now, the other thing that was kind of like that is like weighed on my heart afterwards. My dad came down 2 weeks. He had lost his job. He came down 2 weeks after to take me to see aliens. So I never told him
You
that
couldn't tell him you didn't see it. You had to pretend.
oh, I'm like, oh my god, this movie's incredible. But I was like,
is.
then I went back and was like, I saw it twice, fuckers. But we took 2 kids with us. My cousin Pete and I were 12. We took a 10-year-old, our one of our little cousins, and a kid who lived across the street who was like 9. And we snuck into Aliens, and we had read the book, so we knew what was going to happen. The 2 kids we were with did not read the book, did not know what was going to happen. They were terrified. We scarred them for life. And
That's
and
it,
we
man.
that's
We're
it.
screwed, man.
Well, like I don't, Anyway, eBay has Snake Plissken figures for $500. Yeah, I would love to get a Snake Plissken figure, but not for $500.
Yeah.
You're the Duke in New York. You're a number one. I saw the Thing prequel before the original Thing. The original had Kurt Russell, but the prequel had Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Okay. Also, it had Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and it wasn't good. I was excited when the Thing prequel came out, and then I realized we're going to the other camp, and then I realized that that we were in a box because it's a prequel. So almost everything that happens in the Thing prequel, we've already seen, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they
Your
had to come up with
experience was really very similar. Or the
um,
same.
So I'm gonna share that, just have it out there, see what happens. I don't know what's gonna happen there. Referral link. If you want to get into streaming with StreamYard, which is what we use on the network. I don't know why I
But
printed twice, but anyway.
I think it's tough that if I wanted to see them for the first time, it'd be hard to do it now because you've seen everything. You'd almost have to erase everything else, especially with the horror or even like the special effects kind of
So let me
shock
give
value
you,
stuff is like
let me give
gone.
you let me give you an alternative. My alternative is what my dad did, which is basically you have people you're raising in your life, or people you're friends with. Like your daughter is the biggest Chucky fan I know, right? So I think the way we can never go back to the first time we've seen something, but we can share it with the next generation.
Sure,
Right?
sure.
And that's the most important thing. Or like,
Well, like you said with Aliens, I mean, well, my son's over here on the computer. He watched Aliens. He's not a movie person really so much,
Aliens is
but
just
he sat and watched Aliens one night, and I was going to turn it off, and he didn't want me to turn it off because he was like, he was younger, but
and
he
with
wanted to see what was
aliens,
going to happen, you know?
yeah, with aliens, like the only thing that's come close, and that's the other thing. We're always, for you and I, and for anybody else who watches the show, we're chasing the high, right?
Yep.
It's a little bit this, right? It's a little bit, chasing the high. I used to wear a Star Wars hat to the movies a lot instead of the Raiders hat. And Raiders hat is now just my thing. But I used to wear a Star Wars hat to the movies, and somebody asked me why I wore Star Wars hat to other movies, not Star Wars movies. And I said, I'm always looking for the vibe of Star Wars, man. I want whatever I'm going to see to be as good as that, right?
Yeah.
Anyone else watching Lucas Marin after the show tonight and looking forward to it? I am really looking forward to it. I ran into another podcaster at Until Dawn a week ago, and he said it's the best movie he's seen this year, aside from Sinners. Sinners is on everybody's list right now, but Luckiest Man in America. I wonder if you know. So Joe, I don't know if you know the story, but it looks really good. It's got the Hauser guy in it. He's been in a lot of stuff. He was in the Clint Eastwood movie about Atlanta, the Atlanta bombing. He's a good actor. Paul Walter Hauser, I think his name is. He did the show on Netflix as well about Black Dog or Black Bird or whatever the show is. about the criminals, and he's a really good actor. But I don't know if you know anything about the story. Luckiest Man in America is about the guy who figured out the pattern to the Press Your Luck game show. So there was a show called Press Your Luck, and I'm sure you've seen it. Whammies, winning a lot of money, big bucks, no whammies, stop. Right? Anyway, this movie, Luckiest Man in America, is about a guy who auditioned for the show after he figured out the pattern, and they couldn't get him off the fucking show. The show he had like 10 spins, and he kept on getting and a spin and a spin and a spin, and he kept on winning. He won an inordinate amount of money, and he did it. It wasn't illegitimate. It wasn't like he was cheating. It was he had figured out the pattern. Boop, 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 boop. Stop, big bucks. Boop, 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 boop. Stop, big bucks. And it's I guess the movie's about that the sequence of events that happened while he was shooting that day on that game show. Peter Tamarkin was the host of Press
Good
Your
for
Luck.
him.
Peter Tamarkin. Well, yeah, he figured out a kink. Okay, so no Kyle tonight. Let's go right to the important stuff. Let's go right to let's finish everything else off. Other movie I'm recommending, if you haven't seen it on Netflix, is a movie called Havoc. Great cast. Tom Hardy, Timothy Olyphant, Forrest Whitaker. Fantastic. Great
Yeah, I
action
have to
movie.
see that. My mom we said, "Oh, we watched this movie. It's a good movie." So
it's a really good
parents
movie.
already saw it.
It's from the direct. Wow, your parents have seen a movie before you. What?
Yes.
Good job, Miss Kamora. But it's just briefly. It is from the guy Garrett Davis, I believe his name is. Gareth Evans. I'm sorry, Gareth Evans. He directed the Raid movies, Raid 1 and 2, the movies that take place in Japan. Really great action movies.
That's what that. Oh, what's his name is in those?
But this one is about a bunch of corrupt cops. It has at least 3 action sequences that you've never ever seen before, including one with a trailer that's just. There's also one in a shootout in a nightclub that's stunning, fucking stunning. This is from that. It's just a really gritty, dirty cop movie, and it's really good. Timothy Olyphant from Justified's in it. I can't recommend that, and The Order are the 2 that I'm recommending. You, however, have got something as well for us this week, where people can find it. What's coming from your basement this week, Jerry? Aside you talking to me on a Tuesday night.
Tonight's movie is called Deadly Harvest.
I got stuff for you tonight. So Deadly Harvest. So this is a 77.
77.
Described as a Canadian science fiction eco-thriller. This I'm going to read to you for Jerry. I'm going to read the opening monologue quoted by Erwan Perak. The beginning of the end came in the late 70s. The climate changes, the energy crisis, the shortages, the high cost of growing and transporting grain, the lack of government support for research programs, the disappearance of arable land beneath the monoliths of reinforced concrete and steel as the urban centers continued their unchecked sprawl into the countryside, the industrial pollution that poisoned the earth, the water, and the air, and the continuing growth of population out of all bounds of reason. More and more people, less and less food. By the end of the 70s, the fabric of society was breaking down in most parts of the world, and then the bubble burst. So it's a 77's eco-thriller. It's about a family that has to deal with food riots and things going crazy in their time. And now the interesting thing here is it stars Clint Walker, Nehemiah Persoff, and Kim Cattrall.
Right.
So it's just this is how fuzzy the picture is. It's a 77 movie.
Yeah.
But when Kim Cattrall got big and the movie got re-released on VHS, Gary, did you know that this was the box?
Yeah, I've seen that.
So Kim
that's a way to get sales.
Kim Cattrall goes from third banana to Do you like Sex and the City or Porky's or or
Right.
Mannequin or anything? Well, she was in this. Where can you find it, Jerry?
This
What?
well,
And
this is interesting because it's basically this farmer doesn't want to get involved. There's people coming from all around trying to steal cattle, steal food from farms. He doesn't want to get involved, but one of his kids gets killed and he
yeah,
becomes involved. That's basically what it's about. This is on Tubi,
Tubi.
as is everything that's good.
Tubi just got the Goonies too. So excellent. Let's also get to make sure. Let's get some comments first. Anyone? Did that one? Good movie. Cindy Kamora. Thanks for talking about Havoc. Sorry guys,
Yep.
losing me. I've got to sleep next week. No problem, Raven. Take care. Lacey. Yes. Actually, perfect. Let's talk real quick.
Lassie.
My favorite Lassie. Oh, yeah,
Mhm.
but Lassie I would say is Lassie, isn't it? Oh, I didn't get it. I didn't get that. Okay,
Why did they call you Lassie?
let's get her up there. Twilight Zone Redux. Okay, so Jerry, this is a classic one. Oh, there's the Porky's. This is a classic episode of the Twilight Zone. The episode title is called Mr. Dingle the Strong. This is Mr. Dingle, and this is also Mr. Dingle getting beat up by a young Don Rickles in a bar over money, over betting on sports. And basically, it's this episode where this guy is a vacuum cleaner salesman. It's the 19th episode of the second season. It aired March 3rd, 1961. And Jerry, as of tonight, we are 10 episodes away from finishing season 2. We will be done with season 2 and started by season 2 by the end of the summer. But this episode, so what happens is Mr. Dingle is constantly getting beat up and he's not really strong. So these two aliens in some of the greatest fucking costumes. The costume is amazing. It's two guys, they're floating and they're in like a giant bubble and they have two like giant light diodes on their chest. And they basically make Mr. Dingle strong.
Right. They're like looking for
They're looking for a
weakling.
specimen. Right.
A specimen.
A specimen that that is the weakest of a version. This is the opening narration. Uniquely American institution known as the Neighborhood Bar. Reading left to right are Mr. Anthony O'Toole, proprietor, who waters his drinks like geraniums, but who stands foursquare for peace and quiet and for booths for ladies. This is Mr. Joseph J. Callahan, an unregistered bookie, whose entire life is a sporting event with two sides and a set of odds. His idea of a meeting at the sum is any dialogue between a catcher and a pitcher with more than one man on base. And this animated season is every anonymous bettor who ever dropped rent money on a horse race, a prize fight, or a floating crap game, and who took out his frustrations and his insolvency on any vulnerable fellow barstool companion within arms and fist reach. And this is Mr. Luther Dingle, a vacuum clean salesman whose volume of business is roughly that of a valet at a hobo convention. He's a consummate failure in almost everything, but a good listener and has a prominent jaw. Then the Martians arrive, and then the narration continues. And these two unseen gentlemen are visitors from outer space. They're about to alter the destiny of Luther Dingle by leaving him a legacy, the kind you can't hardly find no more. In just a moment, a sad-faced perennial punching bag who missed even the caboose of life's gravy train will take a short constitutional into that most unpredictable region that we refer to as the Twilight Zone. So they make him strong. Like,
He gets popular, right?
He gets very popular, and
he's popular in the bar, and then all of a sudden the media comes.
He does stupid shit. He does this for.
Right, he breaks the table.
He breaks rocks. He holds up the buildings. Right. Look at this, by the way. I got a picture of this. There's a sequence when this is happening, and it is so clearly not Burgess Meredith. It's ever so slightly, but it's a quick cut. And then eventually he gets revenge on the guy that was mean to him, and basically then the Martians have a chit chat, and they go, we've given him all this power,
And he's
and
wasting it.
he's wasting it by showing all these idiots feats of strength. We gave him the power of 6 men, and this is what he's done. So they take it away. And as they
Right
take
when
it
all the
away,
news crew is there.
right when the news crew is there, so sad Mr. Dingle becomes big, strong Mr. Dingle, becomes sad Mr. Dingle again, and he becomes a laughingstock. People make fun of him and everything. And as the two-headed Martian is leaving, they meet two Venusians who are also out doing experiments. And it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's two kids in like a Fu Manchu mustache with fucking tentacles on their heads, and it's incredible. And they talk with like big boy voices, like adult voices, and they basically ask the Martians what they've been up to, and they said, "Well, we found this Dingle fellow over here, and he's perfect for an experiment." And they agree, and they go over, and the Venusians give him super intelligence. So now he starts thinking out loud at an alarming rate. He predicts something that happens in the baseball game. And again, it's just him wasting his powers at the same bar he would hang out at no matter what. He doesn't solve problems. He doesn't fix things or help things. He predicts a home run. Waste. The idea that you got powers and you haven't done anything with them, which later, like I was thinking about it, it's what all superhero movies are about. Great power comes great responsibility. What are you going to do with it? How are you going to pay it forward? Right? How are you going to,
Right.
you get this power, what do you do
And
with
he
it?
doesn't.
He doesn't do anything. He just sits at the bar with the same schlubs he always hangs out with. Closing narration. Exit Mr. Luther Dingle, formerly vacuum cleaner salesman, strongest man on earth, and now mental giant. These later powers will very likely be eliminated before too long, but Mr. Dingle has an appeal to extraterrestrial note takers, as well as to frustrated and solvent bet losers. Offhand, I'd say that he's in a great deal of extremely odd periods, simply because there are so many inhabited planets to send down observers. And also because, of course, Mr. Dingle lives with his life with one foot in his mouth and the other in the Twilight. It's a great episode. The costumes are great for the
Yeah, the kids.
Kamora. They're
It
really
was the best when they start talking.
They're really interesting. I was thinking about it, Jared. I think it would be a great Halloween costume to get a second head and do you because how easy is this costume?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? They have furry ears. Like they're super cool. Like I was enamored with the creatures. Like you can see it here. They have furry ears. They have furry ears and things that come out of their head, and then they have the diodes up front. It's a great episode. It is basically about Lost, not using your powers. It is episode 19 of season 2. Next week, Jerry, we get an episode called Static about somebody that's a little bit too enamored with his radio instead of television. Okay. One last comment, and then we're going to end for the night because I got Andor to watch. Yeah, that's the other thing. Other shows that are doing well right now. Let's quickly talk. We said Havoc and The Order to watch, but also television shows. If you're not watching Andor and you're not into Star Wars right now, I can't help you. Also, if you're not watching The Last of Us, Andor is dropping basically Star Wars movies every week for the next 2 weeks, and it's just a great show about the rebellion. And Last of Us is as good a video game adaptation as you've ever seen, and it's scary as fuck. It's absolutely, Walking Dead level apocalypse show with great characters and just amazing. Where can people find you, Jerry, or what do you got going on? Anything?
Well, you could find I'm on Facebook, but Slapjaw is basically everywhere. If you want to hear the stuff, see some videos. We do have a show.
How did your show go, by the way?
The show was we had a show in Jersey that went really well, and we just played Saturday, and it was fantastic.
Good. You're with Brutality, right?
Yeah, Brutality. They're a couple kids from Honesdale. Great band.
Well, yeah, the one kid I think is one of my improv actors. One of his sons is the drummer, I believe.
Yeah, they're good.
Brutality. They're really
They're a
good.
good band. Good kids.
Um,
I call them kids. They're not kids, but
they're not kids. They're
you know,
whatever. They're talented
they
little
could be my kids. So,
yes.
but
Yeah,
they're great.
because we're old.
Yeah, it is what it
Where
is.
any other shows coming up, or what do you got coming up? What's the next
We're
one?
playing up at the North Scranton Vikings field on the 24th, which it's an
Okay,
outdoor show. It's a benefit show, and there's 11 bands and there's comedians
oh,
and
cool.
stuff.
Sounds
Should be
good.
fun.
That's a good way to go. We will be back next week for Loud and Nerdy. No Generation movie next week because Rich got the golden ticket. He is going to see Mission Impossible next Monday night. We will be back the following Monday night for Mission Impossible 3. This movie
I
right
saw
here.
that you used the intro. It sounded all right.
Yeah. Oh, it sounded great. We're in love with the intro. It's shorter. It's nicer. We like it. We're good.
Yeah, it's like 43 seconds, I think.
Yeah, we got Mission Impossible 3 coming up in 2 weeks. Thank you for joining us tonight. Go see Thunderbolts. Go see Sinners. Go see apparently Clown in a Cornfield and Fight or Flight. They're all everything's going to get reviews. Get to the movies. It's a good time to get to the movies. Nominate Slapjaw for that thing, right, Jerry? What thing do you need to be nominated for?
Oh, for the Lifetime Achievement Award at the Electric City Music Fest, the Steamtown Music Awards.
Steamtown Music Awards. So if it comes up, is it on Facebook or where can people?
Yeah, it's the Electric City Music Conference. They have a Facebook page, but they have nominees for like all different categories,
Local
like
bands,
metal bands and country bands and singers. But
let's get it out there for that.
they have the Lifetime Achievement, which we've been around 27 years. I'm like, well, I think we qualify for that.
We've been around for a while. Yeah, that's a good idea. So if you like our show, by all means,
Thanks,
go and
Joe.
try to find that. Yeah, thanks, Joe, for reminding us. Thank you for joining us tonight. Everybody have a great night. Stay safe. Kyle, we missed you. We'll see you next week. Talk about Thunderbolts. Bye.